Hey, all right, all right. This is Brad McLeod with SealGrinderPT.com, and just coming to you guys live today. Beautiful weather out, walking out here in my backyard, and got an email the other day from a wrestling coach at Russburg Middle School, Coach Travis, and he had asked me to send out a little message, kind of read an email that he sent, and one of his athletes, a great up and coming athlete. His name is Richard, and I read just a little bit about Richard's story, and it kind of reminded me of myself in a certain way, and that Richard and I guess other athletes on the team, we're all going through challenges. We're all going through obstacles. I mean, that's really what life is about. And sometimes things come in waves. If you're leading this like charmed, perfect life and everything's going your way, it's probably going to take a turn eventually. I'm not trying to sound gloom and doom. I'm just trying to give you a little dose of reality. Is that the warrior's life is always going to be harder. It's always going to be tougher. We expect so much more of ourselves. We're always trying to be, not necessarily say be perfect, but we're trying to move to a higher level. And when you move to that higher level, obstacles are going to be placed in front of you. And then what is it? This the famous saying is that, we should never pray for, say, an easy life necessarily, or for comfort. What we should pray is being able to be strong to endure a hard life. And so, really the message that I would like to kind of portray, get out to Richard. And hey, check this out, man. I'm out here on the dock right now. Is this freaking crazy or what, man? This is my inspiration. I get out here in nature and out here on the water. Anyway, just a little side diversion there. But the biggest takeaway that I would say to Richard and the other members there on the middle school wrestling team is that we as warriors, and warrior doesn't, you don't have to pick up an AR-15 to be a warrior. As a warrior, you can just aspire to be on this journey for the physical and the mental and trying to improve yourself. But that what we should always try to do and try to go back to is that inner fire that we have, that spark. And the reason I say that's so important is because for myself at 16, 17, 18 years old, I was a boat without a rudder. I was a boat without a sail. I didn't have a paddle. I didn't have anything. I was just kind of being blown all over the place. But deep down, I had that spark where I had read about the Navy SEALs. Okay? And stick with me here on this one because it's really, really important, is that spark, I never let it go away, right? And that I slowly fed it, little bits of, tinder, say, little bits of bark, little bits of moss to get it up and going, and then small twigs, right? And eventually I put more sticks on there and I laid them all in a certain way. And eventually I was able to add logs to that, okay? And so what we have to do, we can't just walk out and boom, there's this huge fire burning and everything's going our way, right? Okay? We have to start with that first inner spark, and we have to cultivate that spark in order to get us to that point of, say, finishing middle school, finishing the match that you're in, finishing the workout you're in, moving forward towards Navy SEALs. And that was so important in my life at 16, 17, 18, is that I had that initial spark, and then I slowly started to keep cultivating that, and I never let it go out. I eventually was able to add more, logs, more fuel to the fire. And so those are really the biggest takeaways. If I could say anything to Richard, if I could say anything to the wrestling team, is that find that inner spark. Don't let other negative people know about it, or, because they're going to try to break you down. Get around other athletes like you are on your middle school team. Get around other athletes and a good coach like you have, and a good coach who's going to help cultivate that inner spark and move you forward in your life. That's so important right now in middle school. That's so important in high school. I mean, you could say it really all throughout your whole life, but if I look back, I'm 53 right now, and I look back when I was in middle school, and I look back when I was in high school, and I wish someone would have said to me, Brad, take that inner spark that you have to become a Navy SEAL, cultivate that, protect that from the wind, slowly feed it fuel, and never let it go out, because eventually it's going to become this huge flame. And this huge flame is going to light, it's a bad analogy or whatever. This flame is going to light the way. It's going to keep the wolves away. It's going to help heat your, keep you warm. It's going to light up the campsite that you're in, right? It's going to be your guiding light, that inner fire. And I still have that today. When I'm talking about it right now, unscripted, it's something so deeply embedded in me. I can think back through the years, and that inner fire is what kept me throughout my teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and helped build me to be who I am today. And that journey's not over. I'm still on this journey right now. Okay? So that's a really long-winded way. And I hope that you take notes, even watch this back again, okay? But the takeaways definitely is that, Richard, I want you to take that inner spark that you have, that inner passion in your belly. I want you to take that, hold on to it, protect it, cultivate it, and build it slowly into that fire, okay? Don't let go of that dream. Do not let go. Grab hold of it like a pit bull, man, because, there's... That's one of the greatest things you can have is a dream, but then, backing that up with discipline, your daily workouts, your wrestling and all that, becoming consistent, okay? That's one of the most important things that you'll ever have in your life. So I hope that's helped you out a little bit, Richard, and the rest of the wrestling team there. I'm really psyched to be involved and to help out in any way, what little bit. If you can just take one thing that you learned from today, then I'll be really psyched, and I look forward to hearing back from you guys. So I'm Brad McLeod, SealGrinderPT.com, and I am